Hello and welcome back. It's time for another chapter of the promised Neverland. Right away we get thrown into the middle of the training with Music and Sungyu. As they promised, they are being taught a number of things like how to make fire, what plants are good for eating, which are good for medicine, and also how to actually cook certain things in order for them to be edible. They're also being taught some basic hunting skills like using spears and bows and arrows. This training is of course very crucial for their survival because in 2 days they won't have Music and Sangyu helping them out. So in order for them to actually survive in the wild, they're going to have to know every single thing that they are being taught right now. Even just making a fire could mean the difference between life and death. Then there's the hunting skills, which I'll get to in a moment, but one of the most important things that their training actually covers is of course making medicine and what plants are not to be eaten, because fact of the matter is that some plant life are just straight up taboo, if you know what I mean. And since these children just recently learned that the world is not exactly as they thought it to be, I'm sure that lots of the information that they've been reading about, it's not going to be completely accurate either. So Musica and Sangyu's advice are probably worth a lot more than anything at this time. Emma, however, wishes to take her training a bit further by actually learning how to take a life, which at first I thought was referring to her taking the life of a demon, and I think this was intentional to have us readers just go, what the fuck, Emma, are you mad? But in actuality, what she's talking about is taking the life with the context being hunting. She knows how to shoot an arrow, I mean we saw that very clearly, but can she take a life? That's a whole other question, because especially for a kid, that's probably going to have a very negative effect on your mind, especially if that prey fails to die from the initial blow, and that's exactly what happened in this chapter, as we see how the bird that Emma shoots doesn't actually die right away, but instead is just unconscious, so she's feeling bad and whatnot for actually doing it, and this is a really good way of portraying, that they're still children, because someone who's older is probably not going to feel as bad as Emma did about killing a bird if it comes down to survival. But children are typically more caring in that regard, not saying this is the case every single time, but for Emma it clearly is. Emma's reaction was kind of expected though when Sangyu pulled out a Vita flower, which is this rose looking thing that we saw Connie's dead body pierced by in chapter 1. Apparently this flower is very crucial to eating meat from my understanding, unless I simply interpreted Sangyu wrong, because he did mention something like if the flower blooms then it is a sign that the meat is good for eating, so I wonder if that's referring to whether an animal is carrying something like a disease, which would be bad if you were to just straight up eat it, and that this flower can actually detect those kind of things. So if it doesn't bloom, you don't eat it, but if it does bloom, go right ahead. It would be a pretty nice addition to the series because it would make it a bit more complex to find food that's good enough to actually eat. Like sure, they can rely on more than just meat, but you still kinda need meat or some other form of protein, but if there's no other form of protein around, then meat is your only option. And of course the Vita flower also sucks up the blood from the animal in question, which makes life a little bit easier, in itself, I guess. So there's a good thing regardless, even if I misinterpreted Sangyu. The very big thing about this chapter, however, was that we actually got to see Minerva very briefly. Not a face reveal or anything, but we see how Minerva is actually standing around in this room or whatever, and he says something like he wants to end the current deal with the demons, and that's why he's been sending out these hidden messages. So I bet that there are more than just Emma's bunch that are finding these messages, so quite possibly we're going to have a situation where Emma's group is simply one of many, because Sangyu and Musica did say that their plantation wasn't the only one. So I mean, yeah, things are probably about to get fucking real, especially seeing how Sangyu and Musica said that their destination were like 1 or 2 days away only, so things could probably be escalating a lot quicker than we originally thought. Of course it makes sense that there are humans who are against the idea of the demons having plantations that serves only one purpose, which is to breed humans and then eat them. It's nothing odd about thinking that's wrong, so Minerva is clearly one of those people. As to what his plan is exactly, I guess we don't know. All we really know is that he is very much against the idea of the current deal with the two worlds. Anyway, I'll be ending the video here. Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and as always, if you did, please like this video if you enjoyed and subscribe if you're new to my channel. This has been your favorite host Perm, and I'll see you soon.